The 9th of August 2024. I've just heard, folks, that Drew Harris, the Garda Commissioner, is stepping down. Now, he's well on in his time anyway, and I suppose it's a renewed contract would be coming up, and this time he's not going again. Now, as an Irish nationalist, I would view all people on the island of Ireland as my countrymen. And so the idea of being against Simon Harris or anyone like that from the north, because they're from the north, is not part of my bailiwick at all. He was in there, and if he could do a good job, and if he was a good Conservative Commissioner, I'd clap him on the back. But unfortunately, he was woke, and he was really not up to the job. And he tried to force rotas on the Gardaí that they didn't want at a time when the Garda couldn't get recruits. They can't get people to join because the word goes out what it's like being in there, and it's not very pleasant due to horrific management. The Gardaí themselves that I always knew, and still the few I do knew, and it's not too many, were the salt of the earth and would give their lives to protect your child or your grandmother or anything else in a fire or an emergency or anything else. Now, Harris did something which never happened before. He did not go to the Garda or some of the representative associations annual general conference. He didn't go, and there has been a rift between him and the rank and file Gardaí for a long time. So that's that. That's over. I'm not going to say any more about that. I'm disappointed that good, ordinary, common sense policing that is part of good old northern people, whether they're what side of the fence, it doesn't really matter. It didn't come out in Drew Harris. It is a pity that wasn't the case, because it was a great chance to do the thing right. So anyway, he's going now. Now we know now what's going to happen. The applications will go out, and there will be Irish policemen and others allowed to apply for the post of Garda Commissioner. But there'll be a short list. So there could be maybe, we say 15 applicants. There could be maybe 6 of them from within the force. Now, all the good guards down on the street who are sergeants and inspectors that can't get through the net. You have some of the best of sergeants who would make excellent commissioners, but the minute they show Conservative values, they're suppressed. They can't get down. You have to play golf with the chief superintendent. You have to be involved with some sport. If you have there was a chief superintendent in our area, and he was mad into fishing, fly fishing, and the whole lads looking for promotion all started fishing to get in with him, and he got shifted for some wrongdoing. He complained about Lough Sheelin and the dirt going into Lough Sheelin and the slurry, and he was shifted over to Roscommon and again to Dublin and got rid of it. And the new man came, and he was into riding bicycles. He used to love going out on the road riding bicycles. The new chief, he was from Dublin. And they all threw the fishing rods in the bin and bought bicycles just to be in with him. The next thing came along was another chief, and he was into golf, and they were all playing golf. There wouldn't be too many of them into design and manufacture and model engineering like I am, or even keeping cattle or anything like that, but some of them would, a few, but they wouldn't get up. So those particular sports are what gets you up in the Garda Síochána, and that's very wrong. A superintendent, we'll pick an area just off the top of my head, Portlaoise, who writes now, and he could be about to leave, writes on a young recruit to say this chap is showing bad tendencies and I don't like him, and he's dour and he's all like that, and all that. He will be blackened for life. So there's been things written about guards in 1990 that's still stopping them from being promoted. And these people think differently. What it is in the guards is, if you think differently to the rest of them, you're seen as a threat and you cannot get up there. And the result is there's no crop of officers at the top. There's no crop of chief superintendent from which you could select somebody suitable to be commissioner, because they only got there because they played golf with some big officer. And another thing that's big in the Guards is running these social clubs like Westmanstown and that. So what happens is somebody gets involved in that and they get to know it does well, and there's big events and big things and they do good work. But when it comes for promotion, they get the job, not the fella that's out solving the crime and solving crime for people. And the guards done great work during the Troubles and worked very hard to keep life and property and save people and all that from the Troubles. And those that did that got no thanks whatsoever. The minute that the peace treaty was signed in Northern Ireland, they took the bookworms out of the offices and they made them into senior officers, and they were a complete mess when they went down to local level. They were a mess, and they destroyed the investigation of crimes and left a lot of crimes that were never solved that would have been solved. And they were mad jealous and they had all the bad traits you could possibly find. So the result is finding a commissioner material from the top ranks of the Guard will be very difficult. How do you get them from lower down? If I were doing it, I'd let every Guard from, maybe sergeant, every sergeant, inspector and superintendent apply. I'd interview them and get their views on everything, and you could eliminate 90% of them because they're out woke sissy followers, yes men and yes women, and you'd have a few left. But that won't happen, of course. So because they can't find anyone in Ireland according to their way of doing it, they'll head across to the UK. And the language barrier will prevent France and Germany from coming there. They probably won't go to the United States because there's a danger if they took an officer from the United States, he could be, or his parents or somebody belonging to him, could be a Trump supporter. So how are they going to find out in Ireland whether he's a Trump supporter or a Democratic supporter? So a Democratic Party supporter. So it's essential. It would be a big no-no for the Irish government to put in anyone to discover later his people back in the States were supporters of Trump, or that he was a supporter of Trump. Do you understand? Now, so they have that problem. So the safest place to go is the United Kingdom of Great Britain, including Northern Ireland, whether you like that or not, and look to see what we'll get there. And they'll get a chief constable of some, or an assistant chief constable somewhere. They'll interview him a bit. They'll see, is he completely woke? They'll push him on LBU. Oh yes, I promoted all LBGPQ. I have 6 transvestites in my officer corps, and I do this, that and the other, and we have 3 electric cars there, but they won't ask him how much crime he solves because the crime isn't properly reported anyway. They stop reporting crimes on their computer systems, and then he'll be able to say, well, I brought crime down and I've done this and I've done that. All a load of lies. Well, that's who we're going to get. That's what we're going to get. We're going to get an English police woman, probably a woman, the same as we got Dee Forbes. We got Dee Forbes and all of these, and Catherine Sapone, she was elected by the people in Dublin, and there's some Luthermans and all of that, but she was later loved by the government here. So that's the story. That's what's likely going to happen. They've made a mess of our police force, which is a great pity to see it, because that was important for our own well-being. It was the Gardaí that patrolled and controlled immigration into this country, and that power was taken from them and handed over to the EU with no checks at all. Comment underneath. We'll see you back. Thank you very much. And just to finish there, I mean, there must be young people, girls and boys, maybe coming on to 18 and 19, considering a career in the Garda Síochána. And no, I'd love to be able to tell them, go ahead, you'll get fair play. No, we have to get the political situation right. We got to get Conservative politicians into Dáil Éireann to get rid of these Green, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and others. And just before I go, Michael Ring is leaving in Mayo. He's given up the job as a TD in Mayo. And he has come out during the week and he said, we have to control migration. We can't continue to take them like this. Fine Gael are going to appoint Pierce Maura Walsh, the globalist mad one that got the EU seat, and they're going to try and get her elected in Mayo. Will the people of Mayo elect her? I'd say they probably will. This is the scourge we have and the battle we have on our hands. So that's it. Drew Harris is going. Good luck. We'll see you back for something else, and comment underneath. See you.